Yeah, it's just that people now trap with like a really slow or really high effectiveness Lua that's gonna be able to reset even a high resistance Destina, because the Lua will be like 180 speed, like 300 effectiveness. Or we have even craziest shit that happened in our guild. Like Ran is at base speed, but full effectiveness, full tanky. And just this traps an Aria comp really hard.
I
because
see.
Ran will strip the counter of Aria.
Guys, did y'all catch what Fortune said? People are playing. Is this common? Base speed Ran, very tanky, high effectiveness for Guild War Tech.
The thing is not if it's common. The thing is, if you want to win all your attacks, you can't take that chance. The problem with Aria is, first and foremost, I think I was the very first one in Talentless to ever use this hero. I experimented with her before she became big, like for at least 6 weeks, and I lost a couple of matches with her. I improved the build, and then she became like the meta for Guild War, because we made the old tier list where we put her really high, and people started adapting her there as well, and she also grew in usage in RTA, right? So the more and more we played against good guilds, they started thinking, how can we beat this very reactive comp? And the way you beat the reactive comp is take away their reactiveness. This comp only works if you counter, and if you're really slow, you're attacking not a lot of the times, and you can invest all the stats that you put in speed into other stats.
Got it.
I think one of the most critical comps that was there in the last 2 seasons is maybe like for lower tier guilds is probably still a really critical comp. Is Ran, Mercedes, and Eden. That comp is like a demon. We've been sitting there forever to find a really safe scout for that, and Aria at the start was it. Then 1 or 2 people lost, and like when 2 people are losing with it, it's an indicator that we have to change something.
There's too many variables, right?
We adapted it basically.
Yes.
Too many variables with the Aria. You're not sure what the opponent's going to bring, since she's so reliant on maintaining her buffs. If they do some weird build, it's just not worth the risk.
Yeah, and if it was a more proactive attack, like for example, if Aria doesn't get to counter, she doesn't do anything. Like if your attack was, let's say, Pavel and the Watcher Shuri and Nestani, you can't really trap that in the same way, because if you're slow, you just get cleaved. But an Aria comp is most of the time is a mitigation unit, a sustain unit in Aria, because she wins by herself. But this doesn't work if you're like fighting against a very slow defense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So a lot of these units, guys, that I have a lot of success with, that you, chat, have a lot of success with, it doesn't quite work for Talentless, who's going for the top spots, because there's just too much variable, so it's too risky. Is there anything else we want to bring up from that, Fortune?
I mean, what I want to add, this tier list is for attacking, right? This is not for defense, because if you see Shu in there, Shu is a really good defense unit, right? But she's not good for attacking.
Attack only. Okay.
Yeah, this is only for attack.
Got it.
Also, Aria is an insane unit as soon as you exit the top 5. That if I was not in the top 5 guild, I would just slam Aria every guild was. He's really strong.
Yeah, I was gonna say
it's what we do at the moment with the preseason. We slap Aria on one attack and then do whatever we want on the second.
Oh, who do y'all usually bring with Aria? What's your most common other 2 units on attack?
Like Latrix said, it's a tank. Usually, it's between Trozet or Christie. Christie, for me, I prefer Christie because she gives the resistance to Aria, so she doesn't. So she can win most of the challenge against effectiveness.
Yeah.
And usually it's Destina as the main healer. Okay. Because high resistance, push, res in case of shit goes wrong. She's insanely strong. She's like top tier. She's mandatory on the list. So
and very consistent.
We usually use her.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I saw like 2 units brought up repeatedly, and I wanna just, if you don't mind, address them. One of them is Chaos Inquisitor. He's in the situational tier. This unit is very good.
Explain this one. Because I never use him. I never use him.
Yeah. Kise is currently the meta, that's why he's good. That's the only reason he's there. He's basically killing Kise by himself because he only can take 35% of HP damage. So he can bait her perfectly, take the S3 and the S2, and then you win the game with like a reactive unit like Violet or Rimuru or whatever.
You said you use him versus Kise Red? Is that what you said?
Yeah, we use him against Kise. It depends on what the rest of the team is, but he's like a total package. Imagine you're running against a team that's with Zio and Kise, right? You make him the fastest unit, and he takes a Zio hit, 35%. He takes the Kise S3, 35%. He takes the last
doesn't
hit,
die.
and if he has guide to a decision, he survives. And if he has Holy Sec, he revives with a barrier that lets him take another 2 hits. This unit is not really good. It's just ideal for exactly this scenario.
I like
That's
it,
why
yeah.
it's a situational unit, and that's why it's also why it's at the bottom of situational.
Specific tech. Okay, what was the next unit you were going to bring up?
Someone said Luna, and it's very important to note in the band tier, right? Luna's in the band tier for 2 reasons. First, its damage calculation can go wrong. Second, and that's the most important part, people forget to swap the EE and then they lose. This is a very common lose condition. Even for people in our guild, so we don't allow it with the hero, right? There's, like, no one usually wants to attack with the hero, but this is the reason why it's banned.
User error.
I won't say it didn't happen to me, but yeah, my last use of Luna, it did happen to me. I won because I got lucky with the dual attack, but forgetting the E can make shit go wrong.
Okay. Interesting.
Also, Luna is in ban because it's extremely hard to use her in the actual meta for high-end Guild War.
Say that again. For what?
Because in high-end Guild War,
high-end.
Luna is really hard to use because the defense are so offensive, so high damage. So if you can outspeed, then Luna can be usable because you want to have 2 characters, but sometimes you have like Senya. There is anti-crit, she's green. But yeah, Luna doesn't care about this, but the anti-crit.
Sure.
There's Shu, anti-crit also. Now you have to deal with Ran. Ran can go really high speed, so you have to, if you try to outspeed this, good luck for this. We don't do it. We try to not play the outspeed game because of, we know that people have really good gears, so it's hard. You know what it is to try to outspeed, how much speed input you need to be sure 100% that you go first.
Fortune, you're preaching to the choir,
high speed's
man.
insane.
Yep.
It's insane.
Amen. There's always someone faster out there, right?
Yeah. Yep. You can't bet the fact that you're gonna outspeed, at least for the first attack. Then when we have the information, everything goes wild because we know everything. We know what we can play.
Sounds good. We're taking notes, right, guys?
So, Carl, is there any unit that you find interesting you want to talk about in this list that you like to use and that's maybe in a tier that you didn't expect or that you didn't expect to be in a certain tier?
Yeah, I was actually scrolling up. I was looking for Bologna here. So I see her in the recommended tier, which is great. I think she's amazing in Guild Wars. I don't think there was anyone else I noticed.
She's amazing, yeah.
The only one I would have, I think, looked at first was Aria. Oh, Apocalypse Ravi. Can y'all mention why you think she's in the is the band tier? Why is she in the band tier?
She's okay. Her kit is really good in RTA, right?
Yeah.
But in Guild War, when you notice what Fortune just said, the comps are now very explosive, and she doesn't work into those.
Yeah.
Either they're full of debuffs like Ran and Senya, or they have like Aiden. This unit is just super hard to use. I think this is the most common used unit that lost against us last season.
I see. So, story short, she has too many hard counters?
She doesn't do enough in a 3 versus 3 match. Basically, like her impact is too low, right?
Okay.
Because if she doesn't take a turn, she's dead. That applies to all the units. But even then, sometimes the S3 doesn't kill, and then you just don't have a unit.
Is Mortelix on this list?
No, unfortunately not.
No, it's not.
Oh shit. Okay, well, he didn't even make it to the ban list. Well, guys, chat. Do y'all have anything you want to pick? Fortune and Red's brain here on anything you think is out of place?
Some people are asking what MLM means.
Oh, they might be trolling, but yeah, multi-level pyramid scheme, multi-level marketing. So, Fortune, go ahead and give Talentless's explanation on MLM.
They are scam. They are things that usually we use the MLM term when somebody is trying to sell a dream.
Yeah.
That will happen one time because the planet were aligned.
Yeah.
And everything went right. Like you want the 50-50, you want the 50% resistance, you want the speed battle. Everything went right, and then somebody tries to use it, and everything goes wrong.
So this is the MLM tier, guys. Interesting.
Usually, people that like really love a unit will try to make them work.
Yeah.
This is basically they become the merchant, they become the top of the pyramid, right? And then they go to 2 more people and say, I've tried DDR, has been really fun, has been really effective, go try it out. And 2 more people try it, and this is how it becomes basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks. I'm just scrolling. So Fighter Maya, guys, is still very good.
Yeah, it's still very
She's
good.
not still very good, she's again very good. What Smilegate did is they released the best Guild War artifact in the game with the Esbacom collab, and since then Fighter Maya has been super relevant.
With which one? Which
Rocket Punch.
The Rocket Punch artifact. Okay.
Yeah,
the
the
green
Rocket
artifact.
Punch. Yeah.
Rocket Punch on Fighter Maya is ridiculous.
I
She's
see.
she's already like, her kit is really, really strong. She can't really get debuffed. She always gets defense buff. She has really high stats for a tank. I mean, she cleanses herself, and with Rocket Punch, she scales off the best stat for her build. It's like,
But that's the difference,
perfection.
right? That's the difference, right? Red, you mentioned because she, way back when, yeah, she was always very good, but then she kind of fell off, and I didn't see her in RTA or Guild Wars for a while. And now Rocket Punch is out, and now she's top tier again.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, Pilius can play with Rocket Punch if you below it some defense stat.
I've seen that, and then she can kill.
Rocket Punch made a lot of tank, like the second DPS, because usually we play like heal tank DPS when we have to scout, because this is the main problem. If you look at this, there is also something that we need to make clear. When you look at this list, it's a list for scouting. It's not a list for after the scout, because the scout is the first attack that will give you all the information, is the first attack that has a high chance to lose.
Mm-hmm. So this
is
tier
why
list
you play
is based
as safe
off
as possible.
the first person.
Basically, what he's saying, right, at the top, you find units that are really good in every condition, meaning they're good at scouting, they're decent at the follow-up attack. That's how we like differentiate. At the top, you have units that are good for every situation, basically.
Yeah.
Then in the situational tier, you have units like, you look at Wayang, for example. They're really good if you know information. If you have the information, Wayang can become a unit that just S3s and one-shots Shoes, one-shots Zenyas, one-shots whatever's on defense. But you need the information first. Strays is the same. You need to know who's the highest HP. They don't have Snow Crystal. They don't have Holy Sack. Or you need to do something against the Holy Sack. Like, these kind of stuff has to be there, and then they can become a really good unit. That's why they're situational. They're not bad units, right? We just don't like to use them for every scenario. And that's how they go down in the list from the top.
You need the scout and the intel for the situational tier to work.
Yes.
Exactly.
Guys, can I ask though, for you and both of you in chat, how many rocket punches do y'all have?
One
I have 2 completely maxed ones, but it's only because I kept a spare one and had a lot of bottles.
Fortune, you only have one
I
max?
have a spare one also.
Guys,
But I have a spare one in case.
That might be one of my biggest regrets. I didn't keep one spare, so I have one at max. I would love a second one now that they're we've all known about the Rocket Punch tech, but for Guild Wars 2, man, that sounds awesome. I wish I had
it is
another
good
one.
question.
How much gold do they use per Guild War? I think that's a really interesting thing that regularly gets put up, and it really depends on your gear quality.
Yeah.
I will say that I personally, I attack right after reset usually. I'm scouting the forts and the difficult towers, and I spend about 200 to 500k per Guild War. That's not a lot. Other people that don't have the same spread of gear that I have and not the same amount of units geared at the same time, they will spend between 500k and 2 million per Guild War.
Yes, I agree.
Oh my god, okay. Wow.
I think that's also the main difference between RTA and Guild War in terms of like how you approach it. I think I mentioned earlier how in Guild War you want to make sure that you win because there's no do-overs. In RTA, that's okay. This also means, on the other hand, there's a lot more situations where units have to be used in RTA, meaning they have to have builds that work in multiple situations, not only one. Whereas in Guild War, we go to the extremes. We do very extreme builds. Meaning everything will be maxed, hyper maxed. Like the Fighter Maya will not have any speed. It will just be full HP, full defense. There will be no cost spared to maximize the stats to make your attack as safe as possible, right?
Sure.
Whereas, like, for example, in RTA, if you had a unit that had 100 speed but full stats, it will never take a turn, and you will not score a win with it, right? This is a very, very big difference in the 2 game modes, and that's why usually people who full focus on RTA have sometimes a bit more hard time in the top level of Guild War, and the other way around as well. If you're not willing to re-gear your whole account for every RTA match, you're gonna have some units that are lackluster.
Yeah, you need very different gear between the two modes. I have a question though for you guys. Speaking on the gold topic, one thing I've been pushing for a lot, not recently, but I think it's time for Epic 7 to have a revamp on unequip costs. And I want to shoot for every weekend unequip. If not, just take out unequip always. Do you guys have any thoughts on how would that affect Guild Wars coming from the top guild? Do you have any thoughts on, does that help? Does that hurt? Do you want it? Would that affect how you guys operate?
I think it would completely destroy the game mode's viability.
Yes. Okay.
So that would be bad for the competitive Guild War if they removed gold costs.
Yeah.
Because imagine every day we can just slam our best gear on our best character. So we have 6 characters in defense that will be like best in slot. And then when you go into an attack, you can also have your 6 characters into the best in slot.
Mm-hmm.
It will make the game less funny, to be honest, in high end, because you have to fight with highest gear versus highest gear. So the one that is like lazy will get hurt a lot. But does it change really something at the moment? No, because we have enough gold to swap every time. So it will not make a lot of change, to be honest, for most of us.
Okay, so
yeah, the recent change with the gold really made it so. I think like the very recent change made so the gold will be more freely available, and I think that notion can be tossed away. This was like a notion that we had in the past about gold cost being like a mandatory thing.
Yeah.
I think if it would always be free, like, I wouldn't want to fight some guilds' defenses, including our second guild, who are like defense demons. If they would change all their defenses every guild war, like all 30 of them, it would be like an absolute nightmare to scope. Also be a lot of fun. I think like free gear swap on the weekend will totally be agreeable in the end. I think that's a good compromise because it doesn't really impact the guild war schedule that much. It's like the Monday guild was going to be a bit more shit, but it's okay. Like Mondays are shit anyway. And yeah, I think that would be something I could agree with.
Monday it's tier 1 against tier 2. It's not a funny day.
Interesting. So I had a lot of thoughts there, guys. They're saying sometimes it maybe wouldn't be actually practical, or also that they're already gold swapping anyway, so maybe it wouldn't even affect much. But yeah, I think everyone can compromise that. Weekends would be a good start. So everybody push for free unequip every weekend. Go ahead.
One thing that I agree is that if we have like free unequip on the weekend every time, maybe it will make like the Guild War player do maybe more RTA because, or vice versa, because sometimes you have your build for your main PvP.
Yes, this is what Red was talking about, right? Where you have to your Guild War gear will be very different from your RTA gear. Yeah.
Yes. So like now, for example, this is the end of the season for RTA. So I would love to swap my gear with optimal things so I can play easy, get my my master, and then call it a day. Or even play a bit more RTA, but because I'm stuck with the fact that if I want to play good RTA, I have to swap so much gear and then swap back for GVG. This costs so much.
Yeah.
I've done it one time. It's cost so much.
Okay, guys, then that means nobody out there would disagree, right? No one in chat is against free and equip every weekend. I'm sure at this point we can all come to a agreement on that. Well, okay, guys, what else do you want to talk about here for the tier list?
I mean, maybe chat can ask some questions because I mean, I made this tier list with like 5 other people, so for me, I'm a bit partial, but I can give some explanations in case people are interested.
Chad, do you guys have any
question? Yeah.
Go ahead, Chad. This is the time for you guys to ask if there's anything out of place. If you have a question, pick their brains. Otherwise, I'm ready to ask them where they're going to put Benny, Maru, and K-Ron. They said Green Armin, guys. Where do we place? Oh, recommended.
Green Armin is recommended.
Yeah, he's he. I must say he because Armin is a German male name. That's why I always say he, but it's actually a she in this game.
Okay.
Green Armin is after Eula the quintessential off-color bait for Kise. If Kise wasn't that strong, and Ahmed and Ran, I mean Ran not that much, but Kise and Ahmed, that unit would not be as high. Basically, a lot of Guild War is about baiting and off-color baiting. This means you basically funnel units into another unit. Let's make an example. You take the very popular Amit Kise add-in comp, right? How do you beat it reliably? You use 2 green units and you use a dark unit. This means all 3 units, a dark unit and the 2 blues, are gonna hit the dark unit. You can make the dark unit omega tanky. You put green arm in there with 20% mitigation plus Aureus plus protection set. Use a sustain unit and your dark unit's gonna be rocket punch Phyllis. You can't lose.
Did you catch that, Chad? Noted. Write all that down because that was a lot of big tech. There's a lot of.
We have a lot of tech for the actual meta, but.
I will say that in our server we have a bot that basically explains to you how to play against all the comps.
You can
right?
tell them this.
I'm gonna tell them this. Is very interesting.
You guys have a.
If they want, I can send a screenshot for exactly this comp, and they can see basically how we provide this resource to our players.
You have a chat GPT for your guild wars?
Yes.
We made it ourselves, so it's pretty nice, I would say. Let me just quickly pull one up so I can send you a screenshot.
I want that.
This one's a bit short. This is so easy. Okay, 1 second.
Okay,
is there any comment that people want to know more about?
Is it
no, it's not
the thing is
we made our own bot.
TL has like 4 guild. So we have 2 that is really high hand, and the 3 and the 4 are like more around. I think 3 ended up like, what, 10? 10?
Rank 19
20?
this time, yeah.
20? Okay, 20. And we have the 4th. So usually it helps a lot for the 4th people because they are new. They are people that want to start learning about GVG and don't really know what the fuck is going on at high tier. So this is usually a good thing for everybody in the guild that want to be reminded, oh, I see this different. What? It was a difference for the last meta. What was you using back then? You don't remember. And then you go in the ChatGPT Guild War Talentless and press the team and you are like, oh yeah, I used this and I lost with that shit, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna send you a screenshot. You can share it on stream if you want. This is basically a request to the bot if you want.
Okay, yes, I would love.
So people can get an idea what we're talking about.
All right, guys. So here's the bot they're talking about here. Let's see. It's called E7 bot, and they're showing recommended offense, recommended artifacts to notes,
and gear.
How to put
you can see the gear on the screenshot.
This is crazy. Wow.
Yeah, you can't look at the units now, but if you want, I mean, at some point we can also swap. I can show you some of my units that I'm using. I don't mind.
Yeah, so Red, you just input here you just put the enemy defense. That's all you gave the bot, and it came out with all this.
Yeah, basically there's a command. It's called !CC. Then I put the 3 units. It automatically reads the units and pulls up the advice that we wrote. Yeah, that's based on Viction's work. He's doing most of the resources at the moment, but we've expanded it with like actual rank 1 knowledge.
Gentlemen, any plans to franchise this bot to other guilds?
Unfortunately, not this time, because it's the top comps that are basically unbeatable.
Yeah. Well, you let me know first, okay? If you ever plan to sell this to other guilds, we'll keep it to ourselves. But man, that sounds amazing. That's very cool. Congratulations, guys, on creating that. That's impressive. Do you see this, chat? Yeah, of course, that was a joke. This has got to be their top secret tech, but this is very, very impressive. Chat, any other questions on this, on their chatbot thing?
I just wanted to bring it up because people were talking about how to attack, and I think that's a very interesting part of the guild.
Yeah, it even tells you how to play too. That's very cool.
Well, it's often just a reminder. Because when you're used to the meta, you see every day this type of comp, you already know what you're going to use, but sometimes you need a little reminder.
Okay. Guys, there was a lot of other AMAs up there that I think we skipped. I also see people asking about defenses. We can also talk about that in a second here. Let me just pick a few questions we might have missed up there, guys, real fast. Somebody's asking.
More questions,
I see one that says, "Why is T-Crozet mandatory?"
T-Crozet is at the moment the very, very
Best
best
result.
Guild War tank in the game. That's why.
Yes.
His kit is perfect.
It's
He offers
insane.
free mitigation. Let me differentiate with RTA a bit, and fortunately you can add something at the end, right? Joseph is not that good with 4 units, but with 3 units, he basically protects the main unit you wanna protect. You have another unit that should be safe with baiting, or because the unit's very tanky, and he can, including mitigation, also use artifacts that help the other units, like Bastion of Pelusha, like Holy Sect to revive. Right? He just offers so much. On top of that, he has a 40% CR push, a full cleanse, a defense buff. That unit is ridiculous.
Okay. there you go,
Anti-crit
guys.
also.
Yeah.
Someone else asked why AOL so low on the tier list.
It's an attack tier list, that's why.
This is for attack.
It-
yes.
That unit
Because
gives you nullifier.
AOL doesn't
and
do that
basically,
much.
what we assume, if a unit has a chance, right? Any chance built in, it will not happen. Meaning, if you get hit with the AoE, you get a nullifier, that's great. But her S3 basically does nothing. That's the unit. This is what you have to keep in mind when we attack. That's how we think.
Also, the other problem is that usually the character that you want to use AOL against that in high end, it's Ran. And you know what Ran has usually as an artifact, RNL. So he will just not give a shit because he's gonna proc RNL, and then go into your character that's remove the nullificator, proc RNL again, and kill it, because this is how things can go. And also like Red said, we don't want to. She doesn't do enough. Because you can't believe in the S3 doing his work because of 50%.
Sure. I think I can guess why, guys, but DKDs has been asking a few times now, why Zio then in situational?
Okay.
If he can be
This is a
resistant.
talentless
This is a
secret.
strat, because it's
Maybe a
strat.
talentless secret, right? Maybe,
It's
but
a
I'm not
strat.
sure. And other people might know. Basically, what you do, right?
Uh-huh.
You have a defense that has a Senya, and you have a defense that has
one of
an
meta
attack-based unit. You use Zio, you use Celine, the green Celine. You use Zio S3 on Senya. She doesn't get crit. She procs her passive. It procs Celine, kills the unit.
Maybe with the record, we will make more sense for people to see it. But yeah, this is a strat that we have against one of the meta comp. It's pretty wild, but it works really well.
Yeah, so you get a guaranteed Celine proc if they...
Yes.
Depending on what you bring. Yeah, okay, very
Because
cool.
Zio doesn't crit on Senya. Senya will proc, Celine will proc, goes into Senya. We don't care, but you outspeed the Amid and the Kise, and you just swipe the Kise with S3 Selena.
Sure. Because that, I think that answers our question.
It's the only reason. Else this unit should be forbidden. It wasn't banned last season. It should be there, but this is a really good tag.
I like that.
And also there is other text with him that is just here as a book holder. It
And you
here
hold a
as
book on top of it. Yeah, sure.
it just here as a book holder. And maybe if he does his work, it's good. But when we use him, we don't use him for the fact that he's gonna push back silence. We use him because we know what he's gonna not crit or he's gonna hold the book.
Grader is asking, does a level 5 fodder to proc Karina still work? Or running protection set versus Lua defense?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Very
very works, but
very
Lua is
Opla.
a dead unit. Lua is not a unit in Guild War defense anymore when we play. She just disappeared 3 months ago or something. That unit is just awful in defense.
Okay.
She's
Yeah,
too
she doesn't
slow,
make
like
much.
you can keep her if she's with slow friends. And if she's not, and she doesn't have Shu as a friend, Ed just autos her.
Yeah, and now with the change with Celias plus the Mortilix artifact, there is another response against Lua. And now with Benimaru also.
Yeah.
Yeah, her time is gone in Guild War defense. That's why, yeah. She's not that great.
Yes, chat, I got you right here, boys. Here you go. All right, Fortune in Red. Do you want to go for a few more chat questions, or do you want to talk about the Maru K-Ron?
I mean, we can just try to place Maru and K-Ron, see if more questions come up. I think it could be
Yeah,
interesting.
so guys,
right?
prepare more questions, and then go ahead and talk about Maru first.
Okay, how about Fortune? How about I do Maru and you do K-Ron, or we swap? What do you think?
Wait, can you repeat this? I do the worst one? I do
You,
Karen?
you can do the worst one. You
my
can also
God.
do Maru if you want. It's up to you.
Okay, do Benimaru. I will talk about Karen.
Yes, and if you can, chat was saying, go through your thought process, how you placed everything else, Red.
I think since usually we have like a talk about it because people make different experiences, and like I don't follow the whole chat because I'm in Euro time zone. When the North American time zone people attack, I'm not always there, right? So I don't know all the experiences in Talentless. But I would probably put him in situational. There's not enough testing to say that he's insane. I think with information, he's an auto win against the comps, which is exactly what Wayang and Strays are gonna be if you have the information. I wouldn't bring him unscouted, but that's probably because we haven't tested him enough yet. There's a chance that after more testing, he can go to recommended. There's also a chance that he can go to MLM or banned. It literally depends on how our real testing is gonna go. He came out in preseason super hard.
Okay, that makes sense. So in the middle, but could go up or down. Can you give us an idea of what maybe you're worried about? Why you're being hesitant? Like what's an example of that, something that makes him a bad scout?
He needs an activator, right? So his activator. Let's make an example. Any Sililius comp. What if Sililius? Okay, this is an example that actually happened. What if Sililius is ungeared? Like you don't get an activate, you just have a dead fire unit that plays against the shoe and another unit in defense because Sililius is ungeared. It's a really weird thing to happen. But it can happen.
So if they messed up, or is that a thing?
I mean, you can also intentionally like make your Sililius slower because you know that Maru is really good against the defense. He's very similar because he's a reactive unit to Green Celine, to Aria, all the same problems basically.
Or Bonidom. Like the first week Bonidom was released, people started to play a slow Celia just to bait the Bonidom comp because Celias will go after Bonidom, and like they tried to Bonidom OPS and there is no shield because Celias didn't take a turn, and they're like, oh, well done. What do I do?
Yeah, that makes sense. So if they have a specific build, usually like a slower build, they don't have an activation for Benimaru. He's a dead pick because he doesn't bring enough without his
because he needs to be activated.
Yeah.
This is one of the main problem, and people can trap this activation. Like for example, I've done some tests against one of the meta comp, like the Amid, Adin, Kise, and Benimaru is godlike against this. If the build is right, if Amid goes first, Benimaru is godlike because you play a fast Benimaru, he will push himself so high that he will go past any Kise. But the problem is if Kise goes first, Benimaru is dead.
Yeah.
So when people are gonna start see how that people play a lot Benimaru against this, it's gonna be the same situation as Aria. People will build against it.
Yeah, they'll counter it with specific gear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. That makes sense, guys.
There's also like two more things I want to add. One is there's a very popular defense tech from very long ago where you go the same speed on Kise and Amid. It's super annoying.
This one, it's annoying.
The second part is when you look at another unit that's situational, like Bidom, for example, if you make your comp well, it doesn't matter if Bidom goes before or after Sililius, which is different for Benimaru. Bidom will always push. Bidom will always get attack buff, and then if your attack is tuned correctly, you will still win. That's the main difference between this unit and like a Benimaru. I could have instantly placed Bidom in a higher tier, but Benimaru I'm pretty torn about at the moment.
I'm pretty sure he's a really good after scout. Not a scout, but after scout he can be instantly good.
That makes a lot
because
of sense.
He does so much damage.
You get that, chat?
So it goes in situational.
Yeah, situational. That might change when they test him more, but for those reasons where players could counter it with certain tech, they're being a little bit wary. Anything else on Benny, guys, or you want to place K-Ron now?
Let me just quickly pick up this one question because it is something I want to brag about.
Go ahead.
How thin are the margins for top 3 guild? How many green shields can you give before losing? You can give 4 green shields before losing. And the reason why I want to pick this up is last season we made a challenge for the first guild. Can we win every guild war without losing points? Like can we win every guild war with less than 4 green shields? And we actually did it, so that's something I want to boast about. And now fortune can go to K-Ron.
You said entire season without more than
36 guild
entire
wars.
season.
Wow, very impressive. Clap, clap, clap. Yes, let's go ahead and place K-Ron now, guys.
Yeah, and K-Ron. So ML K-Ron, he's trash. Sorry.
So
he's bad at so many levels. ML K-Ron is like, if you want to play him, he's like Aria. it will work like Aria. You want the enemy to hit on him, but he is not Aria because he doesn't have the steals on the other teammate. So, there is no real dark unit that will focus this guy.
Yeah.
At the moment in high hand. So if you play a bait team like maybe double green into K-Ron against a Kise camp, yeah, I can see it working. But the problem is that you need him with the resistance because Kise can remove the counter also. And yeah, there is so many things that he needs to work, and there is already so many good answers that he doesn't bring a thing that will help us at the moment that we don't have already.
So what I'm hearing is, guys, buff ML K-Ron because he sucks everywhere. RTA Guild Wars, maybe okay Arena, but come on, man. All right.
I think in lower tier it can work because everything can work in lower tier, but
yeah,
in high hand, no.
So he's not even on the list, Fortune. He's not even on this.
No.
Okay.
No, this unit doesn't deserve to be on the list.
No,
the same as other units that are missing, like Mord, for example, when you brought him up already.
Hey, I like my Mord, okay, even if he's bad.
I see.
Yeah, I just use him versus Winter just to be a stun bot. Okay. Chat, did y'all have any other questions on the tier list? Or are we kind of chilling on that? Guys, last minute thoughts.
We had people asking for like good defense.
Oh, yes. Someone asked about defense recommendations and things like that.
Okay, Fortune, this is all you, because I won't give any recommendations on that.
Yeah, I will just say like a line of work. Usually, what we see is like too fast opener. This is what we see usually, not always, but it's always too fast opener. And the too fast opener meta at the moment are Ran, that is extremely RNG. You can build him however you want. Speed, freaking DPS, or speed, freaking effectiveness, slow effectiveness, etc. But always with RNL, because RNL makes all the work, and you can't scout this when there is RNL, because you need somebody to take the hit from this guy, because I'm sure some people got hit by a double RNL from Ran. You were like, okay, I can hit one, but yeah, hit two, I'm dead.
Yep.
Unless omelette du fromage.
Oh, someone in chat. Okay, dude. Thank you for humoring them, Fortune.
Yeah. So this is why Ran is so strong, because how much RNG can bring, and there is also the dual attack factor. Now the second one is Amid. She's not that as fast as Ran, but like we said earlier, do you want to try the speed RNG? Do you want to try speed RNG against this? Because we know some people are really high speed. So you can try, you win, it's auto win, because you can outspeed this easier than against Ran. But Amid is so strong because of Nullificator, because of the fact that if you play with Kise that got buffed at the same time as she was released, those two alone, you can bring a third, whatever you want. Those two alone can like shut down a full green team. We've seen it so many times. People coming with full green or like and just die. They just die because they don't know that, hey, Kise with symbol is a thing, and Kise with attack buff and DCC buff with that is slow, that will get pushed, and you try to tank this. Good luck. Good luck. It's really high damage just from one character. And this is why this defense is so strong, because it's just one character that will do so much damage. And then as a third, you pick anybody. Add in another nuke, Mercedes, another huge nuke, and you can stop her from doing our MMF. So this is why we every time we play.
What's
defense,
MFF Fortune?
Magic for friend.
Oh, okay.
The magic for friend.
Yeah.
You can't stop it, because if you bring like a Melena, you can't stop it. It will proc anyway.
Yeah, is that about
there is that RNG risk again.
Yeah. Like, we're not talking about regular Kises here. Like, you guys are expecting, like, Carl, tell me what you think a Kise looks like in defense. Give me stats.
Oh,
like,
yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Give me attack and crit damage. What do you think?
Sorry, what was
What
the
do you
question again?
When you look at the Kise in
No, we're
defense,
asking you.
in Guild Wars defense, what stats do you think she has in attack,
A
crit damage,
Kise
and
on defense. You said attack or crit damage? Is that...
attack, crit damage, and speed. So you have to get an idea.
I actually don't play Kise in RTA, so I don't know what she normally has. But if I had to guess, 4K attack, 300 crit damage, 260 speed.
Yeah, but with Amit, it doesn't make that much sense to have that much speed on her,
Yeah.
right?
You don't need that much speed.
Okay, so you
if
drop
you
speed
now
for...
learn how to specialize
You
the guild
drop a
Wars
lot of speed.
defense. That's why I don't want to talk too much about it, because in the end, it's just you have to start thinking in different terms. That Kise we are talking about is much closer to what Greater Society said. It's like a 190, 180, 170 Kise, 5k attack, 350 crit damage, or 300. You can even go higher attack because Amit gets crit damage buff, and you run triple torrent. So how much damage is this gonna be? My Destina and my Ras got one shot by her S2. That's how much damage she did.
She can, an insane Kise can just wipe your team with the S2. This is why we play Kise with Symbol, because if they bring a double green and are like, oh, or even better, some people were like, oh, I can bring Violet. But hey, Kise can hit Violet with Symbol and wipe him out of the floor.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so they dropped the speed for just incredible offense. Okay.
Yeah, because people, like we said, people don't really try to outspeed because there is the RNG factor. Some IN will do it, but most of people will not. And so you can bet on the fact that you're going to win against those guys, not against the one that can outspeed.
Mm-hmm.
So when you know the one guy is going to go with a second turn team, you know for a fact that you can play an extremely slow Kise. Amit's going to push, and then it's going to wreck your world. Huge damage, everything's going to wipe with the S2. You're going to not understand what the fuck went on. And the game will be over. And the third card, because we never really talk about the third card, we're just here to look at the fight. Or the worst case, it's Brazaria that will prevent you from raising.
Sure. Brazaria. I actually have a question for chat, because over here we are very casual, but we'll hit like top 30. We almost never see Kises on defense that often. Chat, those of you that are maybe like top 100, how often do y'all see Kise on defense?
This is probably like an effect of trickle-down economics. Maybe when I see the next season.
Trickle-down economics for the lack of Kise is where we're at. Okay, maybe it's like the top guilds that have very crazy gear. No, listen, I've hit the forts a lot, ATK. At least the, or maybe the stronghold. But I don't see too many.
Yeah, without Amit, Kise was not that usable, but Amit made Kise one of the best characters in the game.
Yeah, because of the push, like she can almost an extra turn because of the Swift buff. I think that's the name.
I mean, yeah. I understand what Amit Kise does together. I'm just, I think I've seen it a few times, but it sounds like it's very, very meta for you guys at the top.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
But now we have a lot on ease of answer against this. So one thing that I want to like brag also, like Red done, it's the fact that Talentless one was able to finish first with full clear. In my opinion, in the one of those hardest Guild War meta. Because of Ran, because of Adin, because of the buff of Mercedes, now she's more tanky. With the addition of Adin, the buff of Kise, Amid, the buff of Kise, the buff of Brazaria that came also. We had to die so many times. We were brainstorming so much against some calm because we are like, okay, because when we scout, we take so much time to know what the fuck we are doing. Because we can show you a comp. You're like, okay, this is how it goes. But in high hand, it's not like this is not gonna work how it goes. You can see a Celia's Senya shoe. You are like, okay, I know the stat, but we also know the stat. We know what can be done to trap this. So when we play a comp, and then when in, nothing goes right because you think it's usual and it's not.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I think this. I will say that for me, probably from what I've witnessed in Talentless, one is the second hardest guild war meta I've ever played in terms of.
What was the first? What was the first one then?
The most annoying and hardest guild war meta was right after Wayang and Pera release. That was the worst.
Oh,
that meta was terrible. The dual attack.
What was terrible? Because it was difficult or because it was boring?
No, because Yula didn't exist yet. We had to plan every guild war attack. We were standing there. What if Pera RNL dual attack with Wayang S1 and kills your unit? Like every single guild war we talked about that shit. It was so annoying. That meta was impossible to be a perfect player. It was so hard.
I was not in Talentless at this time. So I was not really that much. I think this was really not that hard because, at least in my hand, and I was in the guild that was placed in like 50, 30. So it was not that hard. So I can't speak much about this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So the current Guild Wars season was the second most annoying, you said, Red? And then
there was a combination of a lot of guilds that were like really putting a good effort to beat us. Mm-hmm. Attacking becoming a lot easier, meaning our defenses were worse because like generic solutions like Aria work a lot of the times. They just don't always work, which is our goal, right? So if you use it against our defenses, a lot of times it's gonna work, but it's super hard for us to make good defenses against it consistently. Meaning attacking against us became easier. So and then defense units like Armit just make the game really, really hard to play. You can outspeed it, but then there's speed RNG depending on how fast you are and they are, and then there's also artifacts that fuck you up. It's really difficult to attack meta at the start. But if you look at the situational tier, there's units like Chaos Inquisitor, there's the Terranor Guard. That guy is just the best against Kise.
Yeah, someone in chat mentioned that, yeah.
Yeah, just double green and him and Kise is just dead. That's fun.
Yeah,
and then
it's so funny.
Fine. You just play that game after.
Yeah, it's a funny to watch.
Look
at Kise just one tapping herself.
Yeah,
okay.
With the reflect. Someone says, how does Politis, BBK, Bryceria lose to Kise Amid?
It is one of the most reliable attack comps. This was the one we've made. We came up when scouting for the first time. Basically, when we tried to discover how the meta is gonna be. We found a lot of issues with speed tuning at the start, meaning there was a couple of unfortunate incidents where people got a green sheet.
Yeah, BBK goes first.
And I mean, it's always the same thing. Basically, what it can lose against is just weird builds. Like Amit Kise Senya, what if the Senya is 300 effectiveness and Amit goes last? Politis doesn't do anything. Kise goes first, kills one of the units. The S2 comes after, puts by 0 to 1 HP. The Senya goes, provokes everyone, and Amit hasn't even gone.
I feel like that's the only thing you guys are afraid of is just weird builds. That's the only thing you can't account for, right?
We start living in our own head sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We lose to ourselves sometimes. Yeah, we are so paranoid because we think it's gonna be trapped, and then you
mentioned the people
half an hour.
The people attacking you though, they have no fear. They're just throwing Arias at your offense, and if it works, it works, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes they don't get punished.
Yeah.
And we are like so pissed. Sometimes they try to they outspeed us, and they're like, okay, whatever.
I have a question from Rufus. He says, how often do top guilds boot players for guild vs guild failures?
Okay, I will say that our recruitment process wasn't always this, let's say, difficult to get through, but we make sure that people who come in usually have like a decent amount of knowledge. In the whole time since I've been leading the Talentless guilds, the 4 years, I think we've kicked maybe 5 or 10 people. In the first guild, we kicked 1 person.
Over how long did you say, Red? 5 to 10 members.
Over 4 years.
That's actually very low.
Yeah.
I would have guessed, Chad, be honest, you would have guessed a lot more. Like, I thought Talentless would just kick as soon as they lose like 2 guild wars in a row. You know what I mean? 4 green shields, you're out of here.
Well, we can't really lose when we win.
You know what?
That's
true.
the thing.
That is true. So only 5 to 10 members kicked about in 4 years. Continue though, Red. What else were you saying about the their resume? You said something else about the recruitment process.
Yeah, our recruitment process makes sure that people who come in like fit not only in terms of their account, like how far they're in the game. We may also make sure that they don't get over challenged. When we get someone who's applying who we see is not ready, we won't put them in a higher guild even if they want it. We want to put them in a lower guild in our system so they can learn from us. Basically, we are streaming every guild war if they want to watch in the public channels. And on top of that, they should be ready on their account. They should also be ready as a person to do it. Guild war is a game mode that, as designed by Smilegate, is not super rewarding. The reward is basically you get to play with people who are in a similar mindset, who are as competitive as you, who have the same goal. It's not really like a thing where you can get rich from, for example, right? We get the same mystics as the rank 300 guild, probably, right? We get it consistently. We always get our 83 mystics, and that's totally fine, at least.
And you get a frame made in MS Paint.
This is something that deters people, and we have to make sure in our process that this is not something that's going to make them quit over time, right?
You got to be dedicated, same mindset.
Because I'm a native German, that's why I sound like a native German.
Oh, really? Yeah, we try to not put people where they don't belong, because it will not help the guild and will not help the player. That's for sure. Because if like you join, you don't have really, you have the motivation, but you don't have the cartas, you don't have the gear, and we put you on tier 1. Maybe you can win, but you will have to swap so many pieces of gear. It's gonna drain you so hard on the goal that you want to have to improve your account, and we don't want to destroy the fun of a player just for the win. So we're gonna place this guy that want to join, want to start building up in like TL4, and he can, and if he show some improvement, how much he's motivated, it comes to voice chat, talks, and learn, it will improve. It will go up.
All right. You hear that, guys? So you started one of the number 4, and then the more you stay consistent, the more you just become known. You'll move up and up there into eventually the top Talentless guild.
Yeah,
also,
hopefully.
We had some people in the chat. I don't know if you guys saw that they're saying, I'm proud to be one of the 5 to 10 kicked in the 4 years.
I doubt that most of them are here.
There was a few that I think they said, yeah, I saw 1 or 2 guys say that. Anyways, good question, Rufus. It was a very good question. I was actually surprised to hear only 5 to 10. What else, chat? Anything else you guys want to ask them?
What's the punishment in Talentless? Oh yeah,
do you guys have like int reports and things like that?
No.
Yes, you're going fanfiction.
No, that's not the int report. We have something even more cute. There was a time where people were writing fanfiction about each other. Very erotic fanfiction when they input, which was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are insane.
But I think when that essay thing came up from the copy pasta, what we want to do actually is just people should reflect on why they lost. We take care that people who start an attack are gonna win, right? So if they lose, we wanna learn why, so we can adapt our ways, basically. So what they do, they're gonna come to the Guild War chat and say like 1 or 2 lines about, okay, I lost because my Zio got outsped, or I lost because the Arc didn't do enough damage, and then they show there's a Arc.
Yeah, there is no blaming, because usually before attacking, we have what we call the comp check. So people will write what they're gonna use against what they're gonna attack.
Yeah.
And the people at the moment in the Discord will share their knowledge. Will like, okay, remember to play this, remember to play that. What can happen if it's this build? Can it go wrong, and what can you do to improve the chance of not losing?
Fortunately, can I pause you real fast? I just got KHHM is here. Also, Fortune, do you know KHM?
Yeah, KHM, I know him.
Yes. Okay. Good. Thank you, Mr. KHM. Appreciate the raid. I have Fortune here. They were asking him to say omelette du fromage earlier, KHM. But I appreciate the raid, dude. I hope the RTA went well. I'll make sure to check the VOD, brother. All right. Sorry, Fortune, to interrupt you. Go ahead. Finish the thought.
So I don't know what the fuck I was saying.
Sorry, I was trying to find a good spot to shout out KHM there for a second, but I interrupted your train of thought.
Oh yeah, the com check. So people will not play alone. So when we lose, when somebody lose, it's not only he lose, we lose. So when we lose, we just go back and like, okay, what can we improve? What went wrong? Was it a misplay? Was it maybe a miscomp? And nobody's blaming each other for the fail. We're just like, okay, we lost, we learn. Next time there's no. Next time it's a win. It's a dub.
Okay, guys, I'm glad we can hear how
everybody is super supportive.
Yeah, the inner workings of Talentless. From the outside perspective, I thought it was cutthroat. I thought as soon as you inted, you were getting bullied. You had to write an int report, and the turnover rate would be crazy high from people just stressed and they can't keep up with the number one. But you guys are supportive. You're writing fanfics when you lose. That sounds kind of wholesome.
I don't know if you read the fanfics. Wholesome.
Okay, maybe wholesome's not the right word.
But
yeah, you're right. There's whole but not wholesome. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there's
there was a French.
Sure.
Yeah.
There was a French act. I'm not gonna say more.
Okay. Well, I do like to hear the camaraderie, man. The supportiveness is very cool.
I mean, I think over the course of a season or many seasons, we're gonna spend a lot of time together. That's what I'm gonna say.
All right, good question again.
So blaming is not. So blaming will help nothing.
Yeah, you want to build them up instead of tear them down. Red has a bot that bullies you multiple times a day about setting defense. Oh God, I need that bot. I never set my defense.
Yeah, that's a generic bot that's available though. I can send you the link after. I think the Carl bot does it for you. I just set it up manually.
All right, we'll get one for me. Chat. What else? What do you have?
Red Atom.
I'm loving to hear about all these.
Yeah, I really want to know who Greater Society is. He's been talking a lot, and he's saying stuff that doesn't make sense.
Greater, what are you saying, man? What do you have to? He's a regular here. I've known him for a long time. What's your question for him, Red?
Nothing personal, kid.
Let's see.
Who are you?
I mean, that's what I just asked, right?
How extreme do you guys go with the stat lines and metacomps in small towers?
Extremely high.
Okay, defense? Or rather, a guild where the top level is 1 in the towers, not in the forts.
Oh, this is something that we didn't talk about. It's how to set up the... What is more important? A good fort or good towers?
A good fort is more important when you're in top 20 or lower, and good towers are important more up there, basically.
For you guys, the small towers are more important, you said?
Yes.
They're gonna win you more matches because there's more towers.
I see.
Like a fort when it's scouted, right?
Yeah.
If a scout is good or just lucky, doesn't matter, then there's 6 more attacks that are free, basically. And the stronghold is 1 attack, and then there's 13 or 12 follow-ups that are free attacks, basically. On tower, there's 26 new attacks.
That
right?
makes sense.
There's a really good chance you're gonna win your 4 shields there.
That makes sense. Someone's asking, what guild is your biggest competition?
Last season it was our
Tier
second
1?
guild, of course.
It was who?
Our second guild. We have a
Tier
second
2.
guild, tier 2. They finished rank 2.
So your biggest competition is yourself. Wow. That's
Yes.
Guys, we need another guild to step up and give them more competition, man.
Well, we had competition, but some boomed. So
They boomed. They couldn't keep up.
they boomed.
There's a very good question. If top guilds want, what top guilds, or what do you guys want for guild versus guild changes? Because we talked about how you guys get the same amount of rewards that someone in top 300 gets, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys had a choice or had a chance to change it, what do you guys want to revamp Guild Wars like?
Okay, I will start, and unfortunately you can just add some other stuff because I've touched a couple of these
Go for it.
topics in past
done already those
events
topics,
already,
yeah.
and I've also written emails to Smilegate about it. Basically, they already have a system set up where certain ranks get rewards at the end of the season, right? So you have the top 3, the top 30, the top 100, and the rest with the frames, right? Where people are guilds are aiming for the frame. Why not use these same frames and make them the new threshold for another additional reward at the end of every guild war? Like if a guild at the end of the guild war is in the top 3 ranks, you get ×7 mystics, for example, or you get 100 skystones for every member, or whatever, right? This is the one thing they could easily do. Second, at the end of the season, there's a 4 weeks preseason, and it's honestly kind of boring for us.
It is.
Why not just make take a top 3 from every server and make a cross-server tournament?
Oh, that would be so insane.
You said
I like it.
cross-server guild versus guild tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Make the preseason a showdown of the top guild from each server.
Interesting.
Would be so good. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
It has to be streamed though, so we can watch.
Yeah.
The problem with Guild Wars streams is not that it's not the same as RTA. You don't want to watch 90 people attack or 180. It's too much.
They can just pick like the highlights maybe or something, or
You
hopefully
don't
the good matches.
Too bad you don't really want to hear like 10 people going full parano on one attack because they're like, oh, if this goes wrong, oh, what the fuck, oh, we can play this, yes, maybe there's the speed, oh, the speed RNG, no, oh, there's the artifact, no.
The comms, you mean?
And then you go in, yeah, the comp, and then you go in, it's just average, and you win. Like
you win fast. You spent 3 hours preparing, but the battle took 5 minutes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. One question for you, Ren. What is the longest prep for an attack that we've done?
It's kind of hard to answer this because it's gonna skew the view because it was a very extreme case. But I'm gonna say it was at least 7 hours.
Red, is there
7 hours for one attack.
Is there anything else you have ideas for the? I want to ask the chat too. Their guild.
Yeah. I have another one.
Yes, keep going.
That is adapted from the game we played before. Before we played Epic 7, we played Soccer Spirits, which is also a gacha game, but with soccer in space and waifus.
I've seen it. Yep.
Pretty cool. They also had a guild war system, and that guild war system basically told you before the guild war which units are gonna be banned next guild war in offense and defense. Could be really easy to adapt this, I think, and this would make the game super interesting.
You said added like a ban list?
Yeah, make a ban list like every week or before every guild war. There's an off day, right? In the off day, just ban 1 unit of every class for the next guild war.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, Katsu. In Counterside, they have that for their RTA mode, Red. I think some games do bans very well.
I think, in gachas, right? It's pretty common to do that. Because it makes people like build more characters, pull more characters, right?
Yeah, and it keeps things it keeps things exciting.
I know one game that was really good with those ban lists. If I think you played it, Car. It was a Counterside.
Oh yeah. I just said that. Fortunately, you may have not heard me.
Yeah.
I said that as an example.
Sorry.
Counterside is a very good one. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I played it. It's really extremely good PvP ban list.
Yep. Red, anything else on your wish list for buffs? I think that's already very good.
Overall, the guild mode is a lot of fun to me, right? I mean, I'm in a very privileged position to say that. And I've also put a lot of time into it. Of course, I'm gonna find it enjoyable. I don't know if this applies to everyone, but I don't think there's an easy fix to it. I think just changing anything is gonna make it more interesting.
Well, here's my deal, Red. I feel like it's not about fixing it, but you already gave 3 amazing ideas. I think all of us can ask for more rewards. So I'm gonna ask the chat our pleb Guild War wish list, and you touched on preseason. Chat, I'm gonna add one if anyone else wants to add stuff too. When we're talking about preseason, this isn't even like a buff, guys. This is just like preseason is so it's boring. Not only boring, but it's anti.
Also, you lose Mystic.
Exactly. It's actually bad for players.
There's no reason.
They take away currency from us, guys. We have to climb back up to the 5 times reward, and then it resets again when the next season starts, right? So it's just, just not only is it boring and doesn't make sense, but it's also bad for our Mystic gain. So I think this is like number 1 quality of life change. But Chad, if you guys have any ideas what you would like to see, shoot them out quick. Otherwise, I already really like Red's ideas here at the top. Fortune, did you have anything? Have you thought about this at all? What you maybe want to see from Smilegate?
I agree with what Red said, because we already talk about this a lot.
Guys, I have a question.
What we can add?
Yeah, go ahead, Fortune. Go ahead. I have an idea though.
Yeah, because we talk a lot about those things and what we can add. We already went through this a lot, and I agree that one of the most things that can really make people more interested is just better reward. Better reward.
That was his top one. I agree with that too.
This is the just this will make people more interested into this, more motivated, because you have reward. You get something doing it.
Yep.
It's not just your simple. Oh, I know I'm gonna spend like maybe $1 million switching gear for at the end like 10 Mystic more. Yeah, nice.
Fortune and Red, they said this mode was going to be happening for a while now, and it never happened. The Guild War replay. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Like the idea, don't need it, think it's bad. It never came out.
I think
it's more for like a nice to have feature. I think sometimes I would really like to see how, if I trap for a specific attack and an attack won against me, I want to know how. Right? Like, I want to understand what the fuck did I do wrong.
Okay. Let's see what Chad was saying.
It's a nice thing, but it's more of a nice to have. I don't really need it.
Yeah, like a quality of life. So Chad is saying second symbol of unity needs something permanent for the account. So that would be kind of more rewards, maybe like a frame they're saying.
I think
a personal frame, not a Guild War frame.
Yes, that's a big one too. Yeah, a personal frame, not just for
it's important to note that when they say more rewards, right? I don't really want more Mystics. I think that's okay from the terms of income. I think they should give something different. That's what I mean with more,
like cosmetic,
not like more rewards, like different type of rewards would be interesting.
Okay.
A skin, like there is an RTA, a skin for Guild War.
Yeah,
I think the skin will make a lot of people more willing to take Guild War seriously with a skin made for Guild War players.
Yeah,
and like there is a skin for RTA.
And I'm sure you guys have already asked them and sent in feedback. Chat, I've been asking about Guild War changes since I became partner with E7. I don't know why they haven't implemented a single thing to this mode. They're okay just letting it sit there for some reason. And I just liked hearing this, but let's be honest, boys, it's been 4 years. I don't think anything is happening with Guild War buffs or anything like that. Maybe, but it's not looking good.
Like most probably not. I mean, there's someone that I know that knows someone that works at Smilegate, and he says they're too busy playing Nike, so I don't know. Maybe that's just what they're gonna do with that.
Well, we can always dream. All right, ready to change that topic, guys? Anything else you want to talk about that? Otherwise, what's next on the list, boys?
I think if I can pick up one thing that Kindred earlier said.
Yes, go ahead.
Getting like people on the same mindset to like make a good guild. It's since you require 30 people and all 30 have to be like in a similar mindset. I think the way that the game is currently set up is super hard. Until now impossible to create a new guild to challenge for the top guild ranks. Like it's gonna take you a couple of seasons to do it, because you need to build a roster, you need to educate the people in how to play the guild. They need to be ready to do this for multiple months or years before they can actually become a guild that's ready to compete. Like 30 people, right? It's very different for RTA. You play for yourself. You're responsible for yourself, but suddenly you're responsible for 29 other people, and they should do well as well. So why would you put in extra effort, or why would 10 people put in extra effort if the other 20 are just not? This is very, very hard about this game mode to like make it competitive in a broader sense.
Oh, I have one. Imagine they go half the guild. Instead of 30 people, we have 15 people for a guild. And we go 15 against 15 Guild War now.
Yeah, but what about the other 15 people? Or just make the guild smaller? What do you think?
It's not a guild. It's not a guild now.
Yeah, we're just making new guild. You're just saying But what is that?
Like instead of
Do you think that's more competitive
TL4,
or
we are TL8?
Yeah. Why do you want that?
It will be more competitive because the level of players that will take this seriously will be more spread into more guilds.
That makes sense.
Okay. I think it's also better for not just the top guilds, but for newer guilds to get 15 people instead of 30, right? Yeah. That seems okay. I just think that it's going to be too hard, Fortune, at this stage of the game to revamp like how many members. Then we have all the guilds essentially are going to have to split up into 2. That'd be a lot of work.
Yeah, and also you're gonna split some group of friends who have been together for like 4 years, and they're like all 30 like each other. It's gonna be pretty difficult to just split them up for like no reason. In Soccer Spirits, the game we played before, a guild could actually have 50 people, but the guild war was only played by 10 people. So there was only 10 defenses set. You could see how strong they were because they were set in terms of their CP basically. And you could choose certain people who could attack a maximum of 2 times, but only like 20 people in total to get your points, meaning like 30 or 40 people didn't do anything.
Oh, so you are telling me that I can be in tier 1, not doing shit and winning all the rewards?
That was how the whole game worked.
I take it. I take it. I mean,
that's how it was.
I mean.
All right, chat. I would like that too. Yeah, I agree. So, what else, guys? What else, man? We have this other topic though. This one you sent me, Fortune. But this is kind of what we're talking about right now. I guess it is something to consider. So who's this guy, Wombo? Is this just a random person on Reddit?
I have no idea who this is.
I think it's just somebody that's like Guild War, but is wondering how much we like Guild War in high end.
The things he describes, I don't know if you remember this correctly, but it feels like this is a top 100 player being frustrated because he's bad at the game mode, right? Because like losing against Senya and Shu in the current season should not be possible.
To be honest, when we read this, we were like, okay, yeah, like Red said, it's somebody that just that's not trying, because when you want to learn how to go against some of the comp that is talking about, we have easy way to go against this. There is a lot of way to go against it, but if you don't have the answers and you don't try to find the answers, then you just lose.
Yeah, this is just kind of every player that kind of complains about the game. Not just for Guild Wars, but you have this type of player for every mode, PvE, RTA, that will complain, and maybe they're not wrong, right? Because I think even you two will say that's for the reasons we mentioned, that Smilegate is kind of ignoring Guild Wars. You know, maybe a lot of people don't enjoy it as much as they should, but they're talking about it for the wrong reasons. Like, yeah, his argument is for why it's not fun for him is just it's not good, right? It's not good.
The question is interesting, but what he's talking about is not.
The stuff he states is also wrong. This is the main issue. If you look at the very first paragraph, right? At the top.
Yeah.
You look at the very first paragraph of the same 8 units in every single defense. It's not true. The type of defenses we see is just too varied. There's too many units in combinations, right? This is why attacking is so difficult at where we are playing. If you're in the lower tier, you're gonna put the 2 best defenses in and you're gonna call it a day. But at the top tier, it's very different.
Yeah, so it's easy to look at the Guild War and at something being boring, because when people do not try, they will just put six characters in defense and never touch it for like months. So that means that you're gonna see every time the same comp each day, every day. And yeah, it's boring because you know what the fuck you have to do if you learn a bit, or you're just gonna get stunned because you're not trying. So it's, to be honest, player issue.
Yeah, guys, 1 month ago, wasn't Lone Crescent Bologna already out by 1 month ago?
Yeah, but you don't need to solve this comp with Lone Crescent Bologna. Whatever defense with Shu and Senya has been solved 9 months ago.
Yeah, I know that. I'm just saying, like, there's so many. That was like the brain dead answer for it. Before that, it was answerable too, like you said. But man, like, this is just so out of touch.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, this guy is probably really frustrated, and I can understand the frustration if you don't have anyone to talk to about the game. If you like not with similar-minded people, you don't actually look at resources, but you try to put your quote-unquote normal units against a specialized defense. It's gonna be difficult. Like the Celilius Shu is a really strong defense overall. When it came out, it was like hell to play against, right? But if you comp and you learn over months or even weeks, then you know how to tackle it. You find your own way. There's people who do the Hassol comp, there's people who do Alencia comp, there's people who do Dark Corpus shotgun comp. There's so many answers to it, but people find their own way. And people who don't find their own way are gonna lose, and they're gonna be frustrated. But it's not because their game mode is shit, it's because they are shit.
I was going to mention, though, this comment is kind of what I was thinking about, and I think someone in chat said as well. Your guys' experience, and I've already made comments on this, is very different than even someone, not just top 100, but us in top 30 already. There's a lot of things you guys talk about differently. So you guys are almost playing a different game than the rest of the entire community, I think.
Yeah, that's why our tier list seems like it's out of touch with the player base. But when you look at the other tier list that was mentioned, that just weren't mentioned by word, it's not that much different. They're just allowing Aria, basically, which, as we touched earlier, is very viable until a certain rank. That's it.
This post is a perfect example on of somebody playing Guild War by himself, but it's a group effort. It's a team game. So you can't tell me that if you play a guild with everybody with the same mindset, you have 30 people that can brainstorm how to deal with this. So if you're not talking with your guildmates to how to solve something that is bullying you in the game, there is a problem here. It's more of the fact that there is no communication with his own guild. I think it's sad.
Sorry, careless.
Yeah, he's joking that this is him. The one thing I'll say in defense, and I'm not defending this guy specifically, but remember we were talking about, guys, there's no buffs. There's Guild Wars hasn't been changed. There's not a lot of incentive, though, boys, for people to be as driven as you guys in Talentless in top 3. There's just no incentive for other guilds to try, to do this much work unless you really just love Guild Wars, right? There's not enough rewards. There's not enough support from the game. So I kind of empathize why people are saying, this game mode doesn't feel good, and they just don't have they're not working together because there's just not a lot of reason to. You can get top 100 and get the same rewards, right? Like you mentioned, Red, we get the same rewards as you guys almost, besides the frame. So until Smilegate changes on their end, I think this is going to just stay a problem where people,
Yeah, I think you have to differentiate what I said earlier. There's like two things I want to touch on. One thing I said earlier is that if you want to be like doing good in Guild Wars, you're doing it for yourself or for the other people you play with. You don't really do it for the rewards, right?
Yep.
And I think it's a very lazy excuse or way of saying Smilegate needs to change something else. We won't change anything. It's probably true to some extent, but people just very often try to deflect from their own shortcomings by putting it on something else. There's not enough rewards. This defense requires me to change gear, or I'd rather not change my artifact. Like the small excuses to big excuses to deflect from actually just sitting back, think about it for 5 minutes, talk to someone in the Discord or whatever, or Google a solution on the Fribble track or whatever you want to do and win. Well, this is the difference.
I agree with you, Red. But that's why I was saying I'm not talking about this guy specifically. I'm just saying.
I know. I want to bring this up overall.
Yeah. I am too. So what I'm saying though is, if Smilegate buffs on their end, you're gonna see a lot more players that are gonna want to improve, talk with their guild, try to push, give you guys competition. So I do think it is a lot on Smilegate's end. Not this guy is not excusable to complain about his reasons for Guild Wars, because there's a lot of solutions he can answer. But I just don't think there's a lot of reason for anyone else to care. Like I said, unless you love Guild Wars on its own.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, most people are reward driven, which is totally natural. But on the other hand, they play RTA, so.
You know what? He's not wrong. I think the difference is though, like AI versus an actual player, I think would be the thing.
For sure. But on the other hand, it's 2 hours every 2 days against, I don't know how much RTA you need to play to get a certain rank, but a lot.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, Red, you guys don't put in 2 hours. You guys put more effort outside of the scenes into that, no?
Yeah, for
Yes.
sure. I mean, if your own investment on average, if you want to be in a top guild, it's going to be 1 to 2 hours every 2 days, depending on how fast you are with thinking, coming up with stuff, basically, right?
If you're not somebody that come check everybody else also.
Yeah. It's a team effort, right? Because when you want to attack, you basically post a screenshot, you post the explanation on how you want to attack. Someone else is going to quickly review it. It's going to take like 5 minutes maybe, and then you go in.
All right. Now there's a question for thoughts on injury Senya, guys.
It's just a
Bullshit.
build, right?
Bullshit.
How about injury in general for Guild Wars?
Injury is a meme.
Period.
Hey, we had people losing to
It's
double injury.
Explosiveness in Guild Wars does make injury useless, basically. If tanking, like currently we're moving more to a tank meta, because now maybe injury can become better again. But Guild Wars just at the moment too explosive.
Yeah. There is no reason to build injury when you can just put
kill them.
so much damage in 1-2 turn even before the you play. Like Amid, like Ran, and the death break of Ran, and Ran and everything. I mean, push, Kise, swipe. Yeah.
Sure.
There is so much damage coming from your side that having a character that plays with injury is going to usually be slower. Doesn't go well with some explosive damage coming from the 2 other characters.
Okay. Red, unfortunately, there's a question from Grader. How is Talentless dealing with the retirement of Echo? What is that?
Echo was a YouTuber
Echo was one
very
good guy.
popular for Guild Wars, right? I don't know if you ever watched one of his videos, but he's a very nice guy, very nice voice.
Welcome back,
Always
welcome
made a
back.
Guild Wars video, made a lot of PvE guides like Tristan Wolf, basically.
Uh-huh.
He was in the first guild and he decided to retire for his own personal reasons, which I won't go into because I know more than what he said. It has been unfortunate because we really like playing with him. And I still keep in contact with him, but in the end, you can't really change that. So, I mean, I wish him the very, very best of luck to deal with whatever he's dealing with at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, best
I
of luck.
think it didn't boom from the game being boring, but because of just other things.
Outside stuff there that if he didn't say, yeah, we shouldn't talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Makes sense. Greater, your questions, now I see why Red is asking what are these questions, man?
He's asking stuff.
He's being spicy, man. You guys don't have to answer that. Yeah, Greater, I don't think we should go there. You talking about poaching or?
I mean, it's basically asking about poaching, but if Creator Society is really that interested, he can join our server and apply and find out.
Oh, he's saying you want to, is it because you're interested in joining Greater? Is that why? You can go apply to them, he said. All right, guys, what else? I think we covered the main 2 things, Fortune, that you sent me here on the very interesting talk overall Guild Wars. I would personally, guys, I would love to see a change, but like I mentioned, it's at this point I think we're all tired of asking for stuff for the mode. But I'm glad you guys. So for how long have y'all been number 1?
You can go into the game and check the Hall of Fame. What do you think about that?
Will it say like the entire history?
It shows the entire history, yeah. I can also talk about history because I'm big into Guild Wars lore.
Also, we didn't really answer the question of the post. Is do we enjoy Guild Wars in high end? I think most of us do.
Oh, sure.
I think most of us do.
Fortune.
I love it.
Most of us do because, like we talk already, we do not do really this for the reward. We do this for all the team play, the fun, the brainstorm, the silliness. It's more of really a guild thing at the end. We just play with everybody else. We joke around, we voice chat, and it's not only one guild, because we are 4 guild. There is a lot of people that can come talk. So we are never alone when we want to play Guild War.
Mm-hmm. So you like the team aspect is what you like, the community.
Yes.
Fortune.
Yeah. That's how we build. That's how we build the community, right? Like it's everything is shared basically, except for the Guild War channels, which guilds can like talk about the defense and stuff like that. But everything else is shared. Like everything is open. The bot is usable for everyone. Most people stream their attacks if they want to. It's completely voluntary as well. And it's just, I think, a nice place to be. and play Guild War with like-minded people. That's the idea.
I mean, I think this question kind of answers itself, though, doesn't it? Like, anyone with no rewards, anyone that is high level in Guild Wars has to like it to some extent. Otherwise, I don't think they would be there. You have to put in a lot of work to maintain that spot.
Yep.
Would Guild War be funny if it was whoever got to 10k Havoc first won? So it'd be a race? I don't think that would be a...
You already see it in AI at the moment where the Asian field is just clearing every floor first. I don't think that's viable.
Yeah, and then you have the time zone differences. No, I don't think that's good.
Yeah, time zone will make this so hard.
Imagine, guys, we have to wait up. So for you guys, I don't know when Guild War resets, but yeah, everyone have to stay up, and then you have to just rush. That sounds terrible, man. No thank you.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Lunchtime, exactly lunchtime. And for me, it's really perfect at the time Guild War resets.
Yeah, that was very fun, guys. Fortune, I'm glad we finally got to actually chat, even though we've both been in E7 for a while. Red, very nice meeting you. Much better to talk in person, right, than on Discord messages. It was much easier.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys, if anything else, Red, I'll let you get to sleep. I know it's super late over there.
Yeah, it's all midnight now. Exactly, it's perfect. Like 3 hours was a good time, I think.
All right. Sounds good, guys. Fortune, take it easy, Red. Much love. Thank you, boys.
See you guys. Bye. Thanks, Cam.
Yeah, see ya, guys. Thank you for having us.